3-star heroes are here in Epic 7, so let's take a quick look. They all look kind of interesting, but I'm not too sure any of them really stands out. Yoonryoung is a light 3-star hero. We have a light and we have a dark. We know how difficult those are to get. On my main account, I'm still yet to pull Camilla. I finally got Penelope after a few months, but maybe you have some galaxy bookmarks that you can use to try to pull for 3-star heroes, right? But we are getting a light knight in the form of Yoonryoung. She has 105 base speed, so extremely slow. 3 stars. All of these 3 stars have fairly low base stats. That's one of the things about 3 stars. That it is difficult to build them because they require very, very high-end gear to make them really, really shine. But they might be usable in other aspects of the game. So let's take a look at Yoonryoung's skill kit. So with her skill 3, she has a battle cry, raises the morale of all allies, increasing speed and granting immunity for 2 turns. This is on a 5-turn cooldown. She doesn't have molas, right? So just stigma, which is great. So you can get this down to 4 turns. But again, in order for her to cycle through this, she's 105 base speed. So she's going to need a lot of speed to cycle 4 turns. But again, you know, I guess she does have increased speed, which isn't, which isn't too bad, right? This is going to make her a little bit faster. Skill number 2, assault coordination. After attacking 4 times, grants a barrier to all allies for 2 turns and increases combat readiness by 15%. Barrier strength increases proportional to target's max health. So here we go. You're going to want to make her super tanky. Most of, I guess, the formula boils down to like a fast tank. As fast as you can, everything else. So I would say maybe at least 180 to 200 speed if you can get there. I'm sure some people can make her way faster, but after attacking 4 times. So just kind of keep that in mind. So maybe counter set would be better to get her to attack more often since she's going to be fairly slow. Otherwise, you're never going to get that barrier. So you're going to want to go S3, get the speed buff up, and then be able to proc these barriers. But you're going to want her tanky, so that way she can provide a lot of sustain with the barrier, as you can see there. I don't know if they show her HP. Let's see if we can kind of go back. She was 9k. That's 9k HP. Okay, that doesn't make sense. For the amount of barrier that she gave, that was pretty intense. But it was proportional on her HP, right? That's what it was. Oh, to the target's max health. So you don't need to have her very, very tanky. So you can actually just put everything into speed, right? And bring her along with other supporters. I mean, you do get free barrier strength, which is nice. Let's take a look at her skill 1. Lunging slash attacks the enemy with a 65% chance to decrease defense for 1 turn. When used on the caster's turn, activates dazzling slash as an extra attack if the caster is buffed. So you're going to want to bring her with supports with units that buff. She does have her own built-in buffs, which is the speed and immunity. So this is going to give her dazzling slash every time that she goes. But like I said, maybe she's a very good contender for counter set, right? Because if you make her slow on a counter set and she's countering, she's going to proc the S1 and then she's going to do her extra attack, which inflicts restrict for 1 turn. And anytime I see restrict, I think Katie's. I think Katie's hunt. So maybe she can be a potential free-to-play Katie's option, right? But again, you kind of have to build her on counter. If you want a lot of those procs from the dazzling slash, I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe just make her insanely fast with a lot of speed, like I said, and then you can get that restrict on Katie's, right? But that means that she needs effectiveness. Next up, we got Hasol, Dark Knight Hero. She looks pretty cool. 101 base speed, so even slower because they like to make very, very slow 3-star heroes. And, you know, she kind of looks okay as well. She's very healthy here. 6k HP. That's a little bit more than Yoonryoung. Blade of Vengeance is her skill 2. After an enemy counterattacks, increases combat readiness of the caster by 20% and increases the fixed damage of Swift Cut by 1000. The fixed damage increase effect can stack up to 4 times. So she seems to have built-in anti-counter support, or just counter-attack support. So meaning anytime that she gets countered, she provides some type of support, which sounds okay. Skill 3 here, Punishing Strike. That fixed damage sounds interesting though. So 1k base damage, and then it also increases, which sounds interesting. Attacks all enemies with a secret skill before increasing defense of all allies for 3 turns and increasing speed of the caster for 3 turns. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's max health. So as you saw, 6k HP, you're gonna want to build this one tanky. The other one, Yoonryoung, she goes based off of the target's HP, so she's going to be good with bruisers, right? Hasol here is going to be good with a lot of bulk, as much speed as possible. Again, she does get increased speed, so that's kind of the theme here. They're really, really slow. They get increased speed, which I don't know if it really makes up for it. I guess, you know, if we ever get them, we got to test it out and see, you know, if the speed actually helps at all. But you know, the skill animations are kind of interesting, right? They're not super crazy. Here's Swift Cut. So her S1 attacks the enemy, recovering health of the caster when used on the caster's turn. Additionally inflicts 500 fixed damage, regardless of whether the attack hits. Damage dealt and amount recovered increase proportional to the caster's max health. So Bruiser Knight. It says that she has to, when she attacks the enemy before recovering health of the caster, when used on the caster's turn, she also inflicts 500 damage, but it has to be her turn. So you can't use this on a counter attack if it's not her turn, is what I'm thinking. She has a 20 soul burn, which is kind of expensive for an extra turn, especially on a 3-star unit. That's kind of crazy. But hey, maybe she'll be usable somewhere. You know, I'm not too sure. Maybe like PvE, where, you know, you get a lot of counters, but I don't know. I think Yoonryoung is probably better there. We got an Ice Thief, Muwi, and Muwi kind of looks interesting. I think this one, this 3-star is one of the most 5-star looking of all the 3-star units. So he kind of looks more like an actual unit than the other ones. But you know, maybe it's just the style, right? Skill number 3, Wind Cutter, attacks all enemies with a sword, 50% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns, and increases attack of the caster for 2 turns. This is on a 4-turn cooldown. You can plug some stigma in for -1 turn. So you can actually get this down to 3 turns, which sounds a lot better than all of the other units that we've seen so far. This goes to what, 50, 60, 75% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. That can be kind of OP, right? He's also a thief, so has access to Alexa's Basket, a lot of other strong thief artifacts, and he gets an attack buff for 2 turns, so it's gonna make him maybe a little bit stronger, right? A little bit stronger. So let's take a look at his soul burn here. It increases damage dealt by 10 souls. So I think that's pretty cheap. But again, you know, most of the time with 3-star heroes, we're not going to be soul burning, right? We're probably going to be just autoing. But you have to keep in mind that skill is an AoE skill. So just kind of keep that in mind. AoE defense break, but you only get 75% chance. So maybe like a farmer or something like that, right? Skill 2, Cold-Hearted Management. This one, after the foremost ally is attacked, counterattacks with Blade Flurry, and when all allies are ice elemental heroes, increases combat readiness of all allies by 10%. Blade Flurry takes priority over a counterattack with a basic skill and can be only activated once every 2 turns. Blade Flurry attacks the enemy with a sword storm, decreasing attack for 2 turns. Okay, so this one right away, it screams PvE, right? Because he has a built-in if everyone is this mechanic. So everyone has to be an ice elemental hero in order for you to get the most out of Cold-Hearted Management, which is his skill 2. The Blade Flurry sounds interesting. It's a decreased attack for 2 turns, which is kind of debilitating. It's a 2-turn attack break, but it's on a counter, right? And so every time that they attack, counters. Now, is that every time? Okay, can only be activated once every 2 turns. Okay, once every 2 turns doesn't make it broken. I was about to say, if that's every time, that's insanely broken. Okay. Skill number 1, leaps to attack the enemy with a 35% chance to inflict bleeding for 2 turns. I mean, it's bleeding. The good thing about these 3-star heroes is that they're all pretty much free, right? They're all free to play. Orte here, Orte looks actually pretty cool. I think this is one of my favorites. Orte, we're gonna call her Orte. She's 125 base speed, so on the faster end, which is actually pretty nice, pretty decent speed, right? So 129 is the fastest speed, and that's Ran and I believe Kayron. She's 125 base speed, so she's actually faster than like a Cerise, right? She is a thief. Attack 800 attack. She has 35 crit, so kind of keep that in mind. She has a built-in imprint concentration of attack. Her skill number 2, Overflowing Enthusiasm. When the caster is at max health at the start of the turn, grants Perception. So Perception is a unstrippable buff that Violet has, right? She gets it for 1 turn after attacking if the caster has Perception, and when the enemy is not an elite or boss monster, increases attack of the caster for 1 turn and activates the same skill as an extra attack. Effect after attack can only be activated once every 2 turns, and you can get this down to a 1-turn cooldown. So max health at the start of the turn. So keep that in mind. I don't know if she's going to be great like in sustained fights, unless you're bringing a lot of sustain units that can keep her very, very healthy. And as you can see there, gets to dual attack, right? Pretty much. So 1 attack and then goes again. No Mercy for the weak. Skill 3, 6-turn cooldown, -1 turn with the Stigma. Attacks the enemy with a swift sword storm. Penetrates the target's defense by 30%. So she has a death pen on her S3. When the speed of the caster is greater than the speed of the target, the penetration rate increases proportional to the difference up to 70%. So she can get up to a 70% def pen on the S3, but this is going to depend on her speed. So damage dealt increases proportional to the speed and the speed of the target. So if you're faster than they are, you're going to deal more damage. So you're going to want to build her super, super fast. Another unit that comes to mind is like a Sid or a Koli that deal a lot of damage based on how fast they are, right? So she has the potential to one-shot, right? To one-shot like squishy units, maybe even every unit, because she can get up to a 70% def pen. She does have low base stats, so we'll see how viable that is. She does 20k to that little grass thing, but we'll see, how well she can do against regular units. Hey, maybe she can one-shot. You have to keep an eye. She is at elemental disadvantage against fire heroes, so there is that. So we'll see how viable she is. Her S1 isn't that great. Attacks the enemy with a sword. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's speed. So again, kind of like a Sid or a Koli, you're going to want to build her very, very fast. Next up here, we got Ruzid. No, this is not Ruzid. This is Januta. Whatever you want to call him. Fire Warrior, 101 base speed. Warriors right away, to me, usually are bruisers, right? Unless they have insane base speed, but 101, you're not doing anything with that speed. You're not speed contesting with 101 base speed. He does have a crit chance imprint, which can be potentially good. Anytime that you see a crit chance imprint, usually that unit is a bruiser, right? There are some outliers like Remnant Violet. He does have a crit imprint, I believe, but you can kind of build him however you want. So Shatter, skill number 3 here. He has Fighting Spirit. Attacks the enemy, decreasing speed for 2 turns before increasing attack of the caster for 2 turns. When the caster is enraged, ignores effect res. So he does have an ignore effect resistance with the enrage buff. Increases damage dealt with a 10 soul burn, which again might be pretty good with counter set. Maybe if you take advantage of that, every unit can be on counter set. Maybe no, not every unit can be on counter set, but he does have that enrage buff. Skill number 2, Ruler of the Prairie. After an ally is attacked, the caster gains 10 fighting spirit per ally attacked and has a 25% chance to activate Hour of the Hunt. It can only be activated once every 2 turns. So again, you're going to want to bring him into a lot of AoE, right? So build him tanky, bruisery, AoE, take advantage of that crit chance imprint if you can. He needs Fighting Spirit. Hour of the Hunt increases speed of all allies for 2 turns, and the caster becomes enraged for 2 turns. So, his kit doesn't sound as cool as the other ones, but hey, he gives speed buff, so that's kind of the theme here of all of the other units, speed buff, right? Dashes toward the enemy attack when the caster is enraged, damage dealt is increased. He has to have that enrage buff. Again, Fighting Spirit, but that's going to be it for the 5 new 3-star heroes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who is your favorite? Who are you gunning for? Are you going to be trying to pull for those light and dark 3-star heroes? My favorite is Orte. She looks pretty cool. Other than that, maybe like Muwi on Wyvern, full ice team, maybe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like always, if you happen to enjoy the video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hey, think about subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people like you who like content like this. Like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.